Okay, let's see. Dial-in number for our weekly phone calls is 605-562-3140. Yesterday we talked about autoimmunity. And next week we're going to talk a little bit about ALS. We're going to talk about ALS today, actually, too. If you're interested in checking out the weekly phone calls, myself and Dixie Sedgwick do. That's every Sunday, 6 p.m. MST, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Dial-in number 605-562-3140. Participant access code 444-973#. And then I also want to encourage you to check out my blog, pharmacistben.com, which we update regularly with news stories as well as blog posts. Thank you to Robert Lundgren, my webmaster, who does such a fine job at pharmacistben.com. Okay, we're going to continue talking about wound healing and connective tissue, and we're going to discuss hormones. We talk about hormones so glibly and so nonchalantly, but we really don't even, most of us anyway, don't really even know what a hormone is. Last program, we talked about the importance of estrogen. In the coming programs, we're going to talk about a very interesting vapor or gas that cells produce. Cells actually make this gas, and this gas acts like a hormone. We're going to talk about hormones, how they work, and why they're so important, and then we'll talk about why this gaseous vapor hormone, think steam, can you imagine steam coming out of a cell, and the steam has a hormonal kind of activity or hormonal action, and we'll be discussing how the steam hormone and how hormones in general work and how they're involved in wound healing and connective tissue. First, I want to talk about this latest health challenge, fad, trend that seems to have caught the mainstream public attention. It's all over Facebook and social media. You've probably seen these ice bucket challenges. I'm talking about ALS, the ice bucket challenges for ALS, supposedly raising awareness. I always wonder what that means, raising awareness, making people aware that there's this disease called ALS, I suppose. Raising money, too, for the ALS Foundation. I'm all for charitable giving. I've got no problem with giving to charity and giving money away. I think that's a great thing to do. But the sad fact of the matter is we don't need foundations for health. We don't need to have an ALS foundation and a cancer foundation and a diabetes foundation and a heart disease foundation. What good have all these foundations done for us? We've had a heart foundation since the 1930s or 1940s, maybe. Has heart disease dropped? Have they done anything to affect heart disease? Have we got any improvement? No. We got more heart disease than ever before. Same with Cancer Foundation. Have they done anything to help cure cancer? To help reverse cancer? No. We got more cancer than we ever had before. Same with diabetes or any other foundation you want to name. ALS is no different. I'm all for charitable giving. No problem. Give charity. That's great. But we don't need a foundation or doctors or drugs to deal with ALS, or for that matter, any degenerative disease. This is so important, you guys. We don't need to be medicalized to deal with degenerative disease. And aside from the costs of eating correctly, whatever it costs to eat good food, and aside from the cost of nutritional supplementation and maybe the cost of getting a rebounder, we don't need a lot of money to deal with ALS or degenerative disease. Take the millions of dollars that this ice bucket fad has raised, according to ESPN business reporter, a guy named Darren Ravel. $23 million has been donated so far in this effort to increase awareness of ALS. Give me a little bit of that and I'll go tell everybody about ALS. What the heck is this about? Ice bucket challenge and donating money and to raise awareness for ALS? Take the $23 million and feed people. Take the $23 million and give people vitamin C. Pay for their supplements. Give people enough food so they don't have to go to McDonald's and they don't have to drink Coca-Cola. Lay off the McDonald's and Coca-Cola. That's how you deal with ALS, and that's how you deal with degenerative diseases. I'm being a little facetious here. There's a little more to it than that. The point is we can do all this ourselves. We don't need to have a foundation. We don't need to be medicalized for degenerative diseases. 5,000 or 6,000 people every year get ALS. But there's really no way of knowing whether someone literally has ALS. There's no specific diagnostic test for ALS. And you can't really separate ALS from other neurological diseases. Specifically, ALS, or the pathology, the disease progression or the disease development or the disease manifestation of ALS is a hardening, a sclerosis. Sclerosis simply means a hardening of a part of the spinal cord. And you can't tell if that's occurring until you do an autopsy. Doctors will give someone a diagnosis of ALS based on observation and based on this arbitrary assessment of nerve and muscle dysfunction. But whether the causes are literally sclerosis of the lateral, that's the side areas of the spinal cord, the columns of the spinal cord, can't be assessed. And at the end of the day, as far as health and healing and reversal and regeneration occurs, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have a diagnosis of myasthenia gravis or Kennedy's disease or Charcot's disease or amyotrophic lateral sclerosis or multiple sclerosis. These are all just degenerative diseases where the degeneration is occurring, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where it's occurring. It matters that it's occurring. If we're interested in slowing down the progression or even reversing the progression, it doesn't matter where the disease is occurring. It matters that it's occurring. And this is so, so, so important. And it's what I call the bright side philosophy. It's what makes the bright side philosophy singular and unique in the world of health and healing. With all degenerative health challenges, when it comes to getting well, when it comes to getting better, it doesn't matter where the disease is occurring. It matters that it's occurring. For the most part, the diagnosis is only a description, and when it comes to healing, it doesn't matter. The body is a regenerating system. That's what we say every day on the bright side at the beginning of the program. The body is designed to regenerate. The body heals itself. ALS is a degenerative disease. The body's a regenerating system, but in ALS, we don't have regeneration, we've got degeneration, meaning that it's a disease that shows up in the body because for some reason the body is not regenerating. It's not healing itself, and the symptoms get progressively worse over time. And all we got to do is figure out why. Why is the body not accessing its regenerative capacity? Instead, it's degenerating. All right, hang tight. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll continue this when we come back from our break. You're listening to The Bright Side. 855-660-4261 is our number. Got a video interview set up with Amanda Rideout, myself, on fucoidan Z, or actually on the Z radical, well, on fucoidan in general. If you're interested in checking that video out or checking out any of the videos that we're doing, you can send me an email, ben@ksco.com, and we'll put you on the list. A lot of it's skincare, a lot of it's longevity products as well, just general health information too. And we do them every week, my friend Amanda and I, and you can get on the email list and be notified when a new video comes out by sending me an email, ben@ksco.com, K for King, S for Sam, C for Cat, O for Oscar, ben@ksco.com. If you're interested in participating in our weekly phone calls, the dial-in number is 605-562-3140, 605-562-3140, participant access code 444-973-pound, 444-973-pound. We do these calls every Sunday, myself and Dixie Sedgwick. We do these calls every Sunday, 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Yesterday we talked about autoimmunity, and next week we'll talk about ALS. Speaking of ALS, you've probably seen all of these the ice bucket fad, whatever you want to call it, people dumping ice on their head, football players and athletes and lay people getting nominated to dump ice water on their head, supposedly to raise awareness or to raise money for ALS. ALS is nothing more than a degenerative disease. It's arthritis of the spinal cord, really. It's a spinal cord issue, sometimes a brain issue, and it's basically sclerosis, or the deposition of hard, fibery material inside of nerve cells that are typically located in the spinal cord. That's pretty much it, you guys. And doctors will tell you that it's all mysterious and nobody knows what it is. But all you got to do is figure out why are these sclerotic plaques or these sclerotic fibers, these hard fibers being deposited in nerve cells. This is so important. Remember, all disease is cell disease, and ALS is no different. It's nerve cell disease. That's it, guys. Nerve cell disease. And this is what we talk about every day on the bright side. All disease is cell disease. All disease is cell disease. And it all relates to toxicity, malnourishment, and a lack of oxygen, and then inflammation. Sometimes with ALS, you get some mechanical trauma that initiates the inflammation. But basically, you've got inflammation that's following toxicity, malnourishment, lack of oxygen, and perhaps trauma. It's just logical, guys. Cell disease, meaning something's messed up with the cells. What causes cell disease? Starvation, toxicity, and and suffocation. Suffocation, toxicity, and starvation. It's pretty much the same thing as all degenerative diseases, ALS or Lou Gehrigs disease or Charcot's disease. It's just a nerve cell disease, a neurological nerve disorder. ALS stands for amyotrophic lateral sclerosis. It's fancy science talk for muscles degrading from a lack of nerve energy following a hardening of the side, the lateral area of the spinal cord. That's it. Like all so-called diseases, it's nothing more, ALS is nothing more than a description of what's occurring. It's in Latin, of course, so our doctors sound really smart and we feel really dumb because we can't even pronounce the thing. That's why we call it ALS. Who can say amyotrophic lateral sclerosis? Amyotrophic, by the way, is just, it's a three-part designation. A, letter A, myo, M-Y-O, tropic. Amyotrophic, meaning muscles aren't getting fed. A means without, myo means muscles, tropic means fed. Fed in this case refers to energy, nerve energy. Muscles aren't getting nerve energy, period. Secondary to sclerosis on the lateral part of the spinal cord. If you can't walk or talk or move your limbs or feed yourself or breathe, it doesn't matter if you have a Latin diagnosis. We need to understand what's actually occurring so we can correct the problem. So what is the problem? What's the real problem when you have ALS? It's a hardening, or in Latin, a sclerosis of the spinal cord. Period. That's it. Sclerosis of the spinal cord. That's it. Next question. What's causing the hardening? What's causing the sclerosis? If you or a loved one has been told they have ALS, has your doctor asked this question? Probably not, but that's what he should be doing. He should be saying, what's causing this hardening? What's causing the sclerosis? That's what a doctor should be doing. Not drugging us with an anti-inflammatory drug or an immune suppressant drug that's only going to put more burden or more stress on the body. The doctor should be just saying, what's causing the sclerosis? What's causing the hardening? Has he done that? Probably not. So let's help him out. I know doctors are brilliant. I know this. They're health geniuses. They're the go-to resources for all diseases. They're doctors, of course. They went to medical school. But maybe our doctor's too busy. Maybe he's too busy to figure it out or to inquire, so let's help him, okay? All living organisms are made up of cells. The body is made up of cells. The spinal cord is made up of cells. Everything in the body is made up of cells. The lateral, the side of the spinal cord, lateral meaning side of the spinal cord, is made of cells. All disease is cell disease, and ALS is no different. It's a cell disease, and in this way, it's no different from heart disease or cancer or arthritis or acne. The sclerosis, that's the ultimate cause of ALS, is a cell disease. It's a cell phenomena. It's the result of 6 cells. In the case of ALS, the 6 cells are located in the lateral, the side area of the spinal cord. And the hardening, the sclerosis, is the accumulation inside of those cells, those nerve cells, in the lateral area of the spinal cord of hard fibers, gristly kind of fibers. And these gristly kind of fibers interfere with cell function. That's basically it. Now, it can also occur in nerve cells in the brain, and all disease is cell disease. So wherever it's occurring, your nerve cells in the spinal cord or in the brain are secreting too much hard protein. So you get this hardening or the sclerosis of these cells that are living, throbbing, dynamic beings. They can't function when they get hard. And this ultimately causes the cells to deteriorate and die. So why is it that cells go haywire? That's the only question, really. Why is it that cells go haywire and start producing the wrong kind or excessive amounts of these fibers? Well, you know, if you've listened to this program, because we say it every day, starvation, suffocation, and toxification, and that includes sugar. Sugar is a toxin to the body after a certain point is reached. Excitotoxins the same way, like MSG. All of this leads to inflammation. And as I said earlier, inflammation can also occur following mechanical trauma. This is why football players and rugby players and boxers, people who get head trauma, are much more likely to become victims. But either way, it's a cell disease, nothing more, nothing less. At its most fundamental causal level, despite what you'll hear from the medical professionals, ALS is no mystery at all. It is the logical end result of sick cells. And in this way, it is exactly the same kind of disease or disorder or pathology that results in acne if it occurs in skin cells, or psoriasis if it occurs in skin cells, or arthritis if it occurs in joint cells, or macular degeneration if it occurs in the cells of the macula, or heart disease if it occurs in the cells of the blood vessels or the cells of the heart, or God forbid, even cancer. All of these are cell diseases, and this demystification of the disease process is so important, because we look at the end result, we look at the symptoms, and we just think it's mysterious. If we don't work backwards and deconstruct back to the cause level, we're going to be stuck with this morass, this maze of symptoms, and have no idea what to do, and no idea how to deal with it. And we're just going to be stuck going to doctors who are just as ignorant as we are about what's happening, except they're ignorant in Latin, so they sound intelligent. Why would anyone go to a doctor for a degenerative neurological issue, except for perhaps to get some pain relief or maybe some anti-inflammatory medicine? Has anyone ever heard of a doctor curing ALS? All disease is cell disease, and medicine is absolutely helpless, useless at the level of a cell. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Got a couple lines open for you. 855-660-4261 is our number. We'll be back right after this with more good health information. Don't go away. Okay, we are back on The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. I am Pharmacist Ben. We are here for you 8 to 9 Pacific and 10 to 11 Central Time, 5 days a week and 24/7 on our archive page at brightsideben.com. We're here to change lives. We're here to demystify this craziness about medicine, about health and healing that has led to an epidemic, an epic crisis of degeneration and disease. Degeneration and disease all over the place. Everywhere we look, there's some kind of degenerative disease or some kind of bodily breakdown that is occurring in our families, amongst our friends. Millions upon millions upon millions of people are dealing with degenerative symptomology that flies in the face of how the body is constructed. Something is clearly wrong. And it largely rests in the fact that we don't understand how our bodies work, the simplest parts of our body. That's why demystification is so important, working backwards, deconstructing, going back to the causal level. Medicine doesn't do this, you guys. Medicine does not go to the causes. It addresses symptomology, and this is why we don't get better. Medical people will attribute ALS symptoms to genetics. Everything's genetics. Used to be everything was bacteria and germs. Now everything's genetics. Of course, everything's genetic, really. Everything that happens in the body happens first at the genetic level. The body is constructed ultimately from products that start off as genetic information, for better or worse. So, of course, there's messed up genetics that are going to be involved if we have some kind of breakdown or degenerative disease or something wrong in the body. But what doctors don't tell us and what they don't realize is that genetics change in response to our environment. The environment that the genes and the cells are sitting in. Yes, the genetics of ALS is different from the genetics of normal patients. ALS patients have a different genetic profile, but the genetic changes that are associated with ALS follow cell breakdown, inflammation, starvation, suffocation, intoxication. And if you're really interested in preventing or reversing ALS, you're not going to work at the genetic level. You're going to work at the starvation, suffocation, intoxication level. We'll talk about this tomorrow. It's very, very important. Got a bunch of calls I want to get to. We'll continue talking about ALS and what you can do if you have ALS, and then we'll move on to our gaseous hormone, our vapor hormone, and we'll talk a little bit about how hormones work and why they're so important. All right, 855-660-4261 is our number. If you're interested in joining me in my mission to educate the world about how important a good nutritional supplement program is, love to have you on the Bright Side Ben team. Please call 866-735-2470 or head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and click on the Join the Team link. You can join the team for a one-time $10 fee. Call the Bright Side Ben phone team at 866-735-2470 or head over to my website, brightsideben.com, and click on the Join the Team link. All right, time to hit the phones. 855-660-4261 is our number. Got a line open for you. Adam in Colorado, welcome to the Bright Side. What's up?
Morning, Ben. Can you hear me okay?
I can, but you need to turn your radio down because we got an echo.
Let me see here. Okay, how's that?
I think that's better. Let's see. Yeah, go ahead. Adam?
Okay, so So my wife is 36 weeks pregnant, and she's got gallbladder stones, and has gallbladder attacks.
Okay, they don't want to take her gallbladder out when she's pregnant, I hope.
Well, they're saying they're not going to now while she's pregnant, but that's kind of first on the list as soon as the baby is delivered next month.
That's because they're boneheads. That's because they're boneheads. You don't take a gallbladder out because you got gallstones. It's one of the most boneheaded there's a lot of boneheaded medical procedures and medical philosophies, and one of the worst is to remove the gallbladder because you got stones. Folks, you need your gallbladder. It is not extra. It is not redundant. It's not unnecessary. It's critical. The gallbladder is a bag of bile. Bladder is Latin or medicalese for a bag, and the gallbladder is a bag, a biological bag. It holds on to bile. When we eat food goes in our stomach, and then it goes into the intestine from the stomach, and as soon as food goes into the intestine from the stomach, a big shot of bile goes into the intestine from the gallbladder. And that bile breaks up the fatty materials, and that gallbladder helps us process and releases and absorb and utilize vitamin A and vitamin D and vitamin E and vitamin K and essential fats and phytonutrients and on and on and on from the food. Without a gallbladder, you're still going to have a little tiny bit of bile that comes into the intestine from the liver, but you're going to miss that big, huge hit, and that's going to wreak havoc on digestive health as well as the absorption of these nutrients that are so important for health. So you need your gallbladder. You need it. The question then becomes is why do you have gallstones? Gallstones are a sign that the body is somehow not there's something wrong with how the body's producing bile. Bile becomes concentrated, and then cholesterol and other material in the bile starts to accumulate, and you get these hard stones. It's basically sticky, sludgy bile. Why is bile sticky and sludgy? Toxicity. Basically, food toxicity. So, Adam in Colorado, got two things going on with your wife. Number one, she's got some kind of food problem. She probably knows she's got a history of digestive issues, food intolerances, food allergies, and if she doesn't know, she's got to find it. Second thing that's involved with gallstones is estrogen, the female hormone estrogen, but I don't really talk about that as much because estrogen problems are also associated with digestive health issues. So yes, estrogen is involved, but primarily or at the fundamental level, you're dealing with a digestive health issue, probably with dysbiosis, which is messed up gut bacteria, which are involved in estrogen as well. So here's what you need to do. Number one, she's got to focus on foods that cause problems, constipation especially, but it could be anything. Loose stools, bloating, gas, whatever. And then eliminate those foods. The second thing for gallstones, and that's the most important thing, food elimination of problem foods, number one. Okay? Make sense, Adam? Okay, yes. Number one. Number two, what you want to do is you want to start to support the microbiome. That means the world or the universe of bacteria that live in the intestine. Get her on the biolumin nightly essence immediately. Have her eating fermented foods, things like the Jordan Rubin products, the probiotic enriched cheese, the Amycine, the Swear V. Just get online and on brightsideben.com and go through the Jordan Rubin Beyond Organic products and pick the ones you like. They're all great and they're all loaded with probiotics. So biolumin nightly essence, the Amycine, the Swear V, and the probiotic enriched cheese, if she can do cheese, of course. And then fermented foods. Fermented cabbage is especially helpful for the digestive tract. Then you want to make sure that she's using things that support the breakdown of foods, especially the ultimate enzymes and apple cider vinegar. She may want to get some extra bile, B-I-L-E, bile salts, and that will help her make bile and help dilute the bile so it's not as saturated and stones aren't as saturated. Lecithin is unbelievably helpful for gallstones and for the gallbladder. Bile itself is composed of lecithin, so you can use lecithin supplements. Sometimes that alone makes a big difference. Sometimes that alone helps eliminate gallstones. So make sure she's using lecithin throughout the day, especially after fatty meals. And then if you want to throw a couple other things in there, the Z-Radical is just a good all-around digestive support supplement. And then bile-building nutrients like taurine, T-A-U-R-I-N-E, and glycine, G-L-Y-C-I-N-E, can also help. And of course, if you want to throw in some extra bile salts, that can help too, as I said earlier. So focus on the digestive system, use probiotics and fermented foods, and then eliminating problem foods. Gallstones need to be treated as a digestive health issue. It is not a reason to enrich your doctor or the medical model and allow them to cut into the body and yank out a very important structure like the gallbladder. All right?
All right.
Thank you so much. One last thing, Adam. She may also want some essential fatty acids. Not only will that help her with her fat metabolism and with making bile, essential fatty acids are important for making bile, but also help with the baby, building the baby's brain. Ultimate EFA is maybe three capsules 3 times a day. Thanks so much for your call. Adam, appreciate it. Hope we helped you out. Hang tight if you're on hold. We'll get to you when we come back from our break. I am Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side on the Genesis Communication Network. All right, back to the phones we go. John in Texas, what's going on? Welcome to The Bright Side, buddy.
Hey, Ben, how you doing?
Doing good. What's cooking, my man?
Hey, I got a buddy that's dealing with gynecomastia.
Gynecomastia. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a very unpleasant health issue where men develop breasts. And it's related to the hormone estrogen and can also be related to prescription medication. There's actually a lot of commercials now running from lawyers saying, does your boy have gynecomastia and was he prescribed ADD drugs? Because apparently ADD drugs can do it. It's a hormonal condition. It's associated with the hormone estrogen, and it can also be associated with prescription drugs. Tell me a little bit about your friend. Is somebody you know really well? Do you know any of the stuff he's got going on? Any health conditions?
Yeah, he said when he was younger he had to take a albuterol to help him breathe better when he was a baby.
All right, well that could certainly had something to do with it, but more than likely he's got asthma or he's got some kind of respiratory problem. Is that what you're saying?
No, this was when he was younger. He said
he doesn't have it. Well, he's got something else percolating in his body. Here's the issue, John. When you have gynecomastia or any other health condition, they're symptomology, they're signs. They're not problems. Yeah, they're problematic, obviously. No guys want to have breasts. That's not a good thing. But that's not where the problem lies. Those are the signs of the problem. And this is so important. When we have a problem or we have a health challenge, we got to understand that the health challenge, as unpleasant as it may be, is not the problem. It's not where we want to work. So you got to work backwards. Anybody who has a health challenge of any kind, underneath you're always going to find this triangle of disease that we talk about all the time. The adrenal glands and the thyroid, the blood sugar system and the digestive system. And primarily it's going to be blood sugar related and digestive system related. Can't work on the breasts. They're there. That's the end. That's the end result. The gynecomastia, the symptoms of gynecomastia, the breast development, that's the end. What you got to do is got to work on the causal level or at the causal level, and that's always going to be related to blood sugar and then to the digestive system, and of course the adrenals and the thyroid are also involved, but blood sugar and digestion is where you want to work. First things first. So start to work on blood sugar issues. That means if there's any kind of diabetes or there's any kind of pre-diabetes condition, weight gain problems, blood pressure problems, all of these are indicators that he's not utilizing sugar correctly, weaning himself off of sugar, eating more protein foods, and using sugar metabolizing nutrients, especially the sweeties, which is chromium, vanadium, the B vitamins, which you'll get in the Healthy Start Pack, and the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, which everybody needs. I would also probably throw in the Z radical. Then you want to make sure he's digesting correctly, especially fats. The hormone estrogen, as I say, is involved in gynecomastia and breast development, and there's a very important relationship between fat digestion, fat metabolism, and probiotics or good bacteria and estrogen. So you want to make sure that he's processing and digesting his food correctly, eliminating problem foods, and then using digestive enzymes and apple cider vinegar. All the things we talked about with our last caller would probably be relevant. Lecithin, choline, taurine, these are all in the interest of helping the body metabolize fats and make bile. And then, of course, it goes without saying, but I'll say it anyway, probiotics. The BioLumin Nightly Essence is the best probiotic supplement I know of. Everybody should be on the BioLumin Nightly Essence. It's got digestive enzymes in it. Plus, it's a wonderful source of probiotics, a full spectrum of probiotics, lots of strains, as well as a high dose, a high concentration of probiotics. You can use fermented foods as well. That's probably a good idea. Fermented cabbage, fermented beets, fermented pickles. Focus on the digestive system. Focus on the blood sugar system. And then if he wants to throw in a couple other things, it'd probably be a good idea to focus on adrenal health. That means using nutrients. Using nutrients for the adrenal glands. Zinc and vitamin C stand out in importance for the adrenal glands. So does vitamin B12. and then making sure he's using deep breathing techniques. The adrenal glands are very sensitive to oxygen, slowing down the breathing. And then lastly, making sure if he's on any prescription drugs that he weans himself off of those. Prescription drugs can definitely be a cause of gynecomastia. And if you look at the package insert on most or on a lot of prescription drugs, you'll see hormone changes, and you'll even see gynecomastia on a lot of prescription drugs as a side effect or as an adverse effect. So laying off the drugs, focusing on blood sugar, focusing on digestive health, especially fat metabolism, and also bile, and then using adrenal support, vitamin C, B12, making sure he's deep breathing, and then laying off of prescription drugs. That's my protocol for gynecomastia. I hope that helps, John. Anything else, bro?
What if he's suggesting surgery? Would you recommend that?
I can't tell you. I personally would never let a doctor cut me unless it was life-threatening. Ever, 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 ever. Gynecomastia is a metabolic condition. What does that mean? It's a chemistry condition. And you can't correct chemistry conditions with surgery, no matter what your doctor tells you. You can't correct metabolic issues by taking tissue out or taking an organ out. So, no, I mean, that's me. He can do whatever he wants, but I personally would not do it if it was me. All right, John, got to move on, buddy. Thank you so much for your call. Appreciate it. And thanks for listening to The Bright Side. All right, Carolyn, Washington, what's going on? Welcome to The Bright Side.
Oh?
Yes, ma'am. How you doing?
Can I do fine? Thank you. Can I do a follow-up question on what you were just talking about? Is that reversible?
Which gynecomastia?
Yeah.
Of course. It's a metabolic condition. It's reversible. You change.
Oh, okay.
Metabolic condition means it's a chemistry condition. So you change the chemistry, and the gynecomastia goes away.
Oh, okay. I'm calling for a friend about Lou Gehrig's disease. I just discovered you, and I don't know if you have printed material I can hand him or...
Well, I don't really. I got a blog, and you can look that up, and I'll probably be posting on ALS. I'm going to continue talking about ALS tomorrow, and I don't know if you heard the beginning of the program, but we spent about 15 or the first two segments anyway talking about ALS, and I'll continue talking about it tomorrow. Also, I should tell you, if you don't know, you probably don't know, we have a searchable archive, benfuchsarchives.com, and that was set up by Peter, my friend Peter in the UK. And all you got to do is, it's called, the website is Ben Fuchs Archives, and I'll spell it for you, okay? B as in boy, E as in Edward, N as in Nancy, A as in Apple, R as in Randy, C as in cat, H as in Harry, I as in igloo, V as in Victor, E as in Edward, S as in Sam, benfuchsarchives.com. And you punch in ALS, and after today anyway, you'll get the beginning of this program, and then also we'll continue talking about it tomorrow. Did you have a specific question that you wanted to know? You want to ask?
Lou Gehrig's disease.
No, a specific question about Lou Gehrig's disease? Because
he was just diagnosed with it, and the doctors tell him there's no cure and no.
Well, yeah, they'll tell him because they don't know. They say there's no cure because they don't know about it. They don't know what it is. ALS is a degenerative disease where the spinal cord the cells of the spinal cord get hard, and that blocks energy to the muscles, and then the muscles start to die. That's all it is. The question is why do those cells become sclerotic, or why do those cells get hard? And hard cells, and I know you've only been listening to this program for a little bit, but we talk about this all the time. Cells get hard because they're sick, and they get sick because they're starved, they're toxic, and they're suffocating for the most part. Sometimes trauma is involved, but assuming he's not a football player, or he hasn't gotten beat in the head a lot, we're just going to assume that it was toxification, suffocation, and starvation. So for ALS, you do exactly what you do for all degenerative diseases. You feed the body with the Mighty 90 essential nutrients. You breathe the body by making sure you're doing deep breathing techniques, and you stay away from anything that creates toxicity, especially sugar. And by the way, we'll talk about this a little bit tomorrow, there's a major connection between blood sugar and ALS. That should come as no surprise to anybody. A major connection between elevated blood sugar or dysfunctional blood sugar control and ALS. There's always a blood sugar connection. Always, always, always. So if you're serious about ALS, start to work on blood sugar. Now, is it a cure for ALS? No, but it will immediately make your symptomology better. It'll immediately improve your symptoms. Secondly, look for problem foods, lay off of those foods, and support digestive health. Is that a cure for ALS? No, but you will immediately feel better. Now, over the course of time, once you correct digestive problems and blood sugar problems and toxicity, yes, your symptoms will begin to reverse. And if you're healthy and strong, otherwise, then you will actually get better. And can you cure it? Well, logic tells you, yes, you can cure it. logic tells you we can't cure it. The body cures itself because it's in the body's nature to cure. But you got to give it the mighty 90 essential nutrients, all of them, especially fats, by the way, because the nerves are dependent on fats. Nerve cells are very fat dependent. So making sure that you're processing fats and using the ultimate essential fatty acids and using vitamin E and vitamin A and other fatty nutrients is very, very important. Making sure that you're making bile using all the things we talk about, lecithin and choline and taurine. And, another strategy for stimulating bile, not for making bile, is to use bitter herbs and bitter vegetables at the beginning of all your meals. There's so much you could do, you guys. Nobody needs to suffer with a degenerative disease, and certainly nobody needs to die from a degenerative disease, even though we are dying left and right from ALS and other degenerative health crises. All right, Carol, I wish we had more time. Call back tomorrow or listen in tomorrow. We're going to continue talking about ALS and what you can do about it. I apologize if we left you on hold. You got to call in earlier so we can get to all our calls. If you're interested in joining the Brightside Ben team, please call 866-735-2470. Help me in my mission to educate the world about the power and importance of a good nutritional supplement program. Help change lives and make some money, too. We'll continue talking about ALS tomorrow on the Brightside. Thanks for listening, folks. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Have a wonderful, awesome, beautiful, spectacular day. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.